BVO, put it on BVO. Let them know every time I punch, it's a heavy blow. BVO, bound to hit like bricks cause it was set in stone. Let them know I ain't getting body, but I'ma hit this flow. Yeah, way more.
Asiatic Black Man Productions. It's time for another raffle brought to you by the JBT. Our first item is a new 10th generation iPad with a liquid retina display which shows off beautiful color and has plenty of power for all your handheld computing needs. Great for work, play, or just movies on the go. How much is it to enter, you ask? Just $10. Or you can catch the deal with 3 entries for just $25. It's easy to enter. Just cash app your entries to $JBT Network 1. That's $JBT Network 1. Our second item is a set of Konichi Bear Bluetooth noise canceling headphones. Great for gaming, movies, or travel. As the second prize in this great raffle. Our third item is a Ninja brand air fryer. Great for all your air frying needs. Cooking healthy with the JBT. So send your entries via Cash App to JBT Network 1. That's JBT Network 1. $10 each or 3 for $25. Put raffle on the comment line and you are entered. Asiatic Black Man Productions, in association with the JBT, proudly presents the Roll with the Punches podcast, broadcasting live from God's favorite city, the home of combat sports, Cleveland, Ohio. And now, here's your host, the Asiatic Black Man, sent by God himself, BVO.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy BVO Boxing, man. We got one of my favorite people in the house, man. We got my man Uncle Stitch, all the way from Cali. You know, they claim him in the Bay. I know he might go back be a Vegas guy now, but we still claim him in the Bay, man. How you doing?
Open all the way, yeah, of course.
So you coming off a big win, man. How did you feel about that knockout? I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. You know what? I knew it was a tough fight. You know, all the way till the last moment. You know, it could have been anybody's game because Magumbi has some power, speed and power, and all it takes is one shot. But I told Caleb, I said, man, you got to fight like a Mexican, bro. They're gonna love you. You know, there's no but Mexicans in the arena, right? So had to lose a little bit of psychology. You know, he's going to the body, and that's his forte, throwing shots in, because everything was his 1 and 2s, or maybe a third shot. Finally, he started putting combinations of 5 and 6, and then break, and then again, and that's how he wore him up. So it was a fun night, though. It was good.
So when you was on a card like that, how did you feel? I don't know if you got a chance to watch any other fights because you were working, but did you see the Cool Boy Steph fight? That was a great fight. Then we see Danny Garcia finally retired, man. I felt bad for him. He got beat to death, man. I felt bad for him.
Well, you know, I've worked with Eddie Islandi earlier in his career, right? And then Salas, the head coach, I worked with a lot of his Cuban fighters. So I knew one thing that Lara hadn't lost was his boxing skills. And, you know, I say you can beat anything, but you can't beat time. You know, when you're off for such a long time, then, you know, you got to rebuild yourself, especially at that A level.
So, you know, we never get to hear your takes on this, man. You know, it's a lot going on in boxing, man. There's this kid at 140, man, we all love, man. You know, became undisputed 2 times. Then they got this kid at 135, he's unified. When you see guys like Tank and Teofimo Lopez, what does that let you know about the sport?
Well, you know, the sport's always been, for me, it's been consistent, bro. You know, fighters fight and they get cut, you know. And but I've been around a lot of great fighters, and I've seen a lot of the new generation of fighters coming up. And, you know, props to all of them, man. You know, I got to give them respect. And, you know, years ago, I interviewed Mike Tyson, and, you know, I said, you know, every fighter has that one little thing that nobody on the planet has. So it makes you a fighter. What's that one little thing? And very simply, Mike says, take the pain. You got to take the pain. And as I thought about it, right, because, man, these guys, win or lose, you take a pain in training, take a pain in your fights, take a pain with your family, take a pain financially, and hopefully you don't take pain that's long term. And a lot of them will go through that. So, yeah, you know, it's the evolution, bro. You just see them. I've seen a lot of great ones come and seen a lot of great go, and I've seen a lot of great ones coming up, you know, and I've worked with a lot of the young generation.
So I want to ask you this, man. When you're on the road a lot. I don't know if you on as quite as much as you used to be, but when you were on the road, how were you able to maintain still that family balance, man, when you were on the road like that?
Yeah, well, you know, a lot of times, well, like last week I was in LA for a show, and this week I was home for this show Saturday. Next week I'll be in Phoenix. You know, my wife will go with me. Then the week after I'll be in New York. But you know, for the most part, I'll leave if the fights are Saturday. I'll leave Thursday and get there in time for the weigh-in on Friday and do the fight Saturday, and I'm home, bro. You know, and the rest of the time it's all family. It's all family time. You know, so yeah, hotels like this Caleb team. I live 20 minutes from the MGM. They offered me a room.
Oh,
you know,
wow.
for the week I was there. I said, I don't want it. You know, I'm going home. You know, so
I can dig it.
yeah.
Well, speaking of that, let me ask you this, man. What would you tell a young man if he meets someone that he how important was having that foundation of a wife early on for you, man?
Hey, I'll tell you what, man. Couldn't have done it without her. You know, when I moved from the Bay Area, I got a job transfer, and they gave me like a week, and I talked them into 2 weeks, and I took a secondary position that was like $25,000 a year less per year. And she sacrificed with me. And, you know, there was a point where they're filming a documentary in my life, and I'm bringing it up. And you asked the question, it's a good time, because that's one of the stories that when I moved here to Las Vegas, it's been 29 years. Early first 6 months, my brother came over to visit because he lived here, and him and his wife, and he sees that me and Charlotte, my wife, are kind of, you know, little bummed out, and he asked why, and I couldn't pay my rent. You know, so I remember he gave me $1,500, and with that, paid my rent. That gave me a little extra dollars to work with, and I paid my brother double. And we were talking about it today because that's going to be in the film. Never looked back after that, man. So, you know, without my wife, even now, she don't work now, bro. You know, but they all know her. You know, Yahoo knows her, and all these, you know, all these companies know her, and shit, UPS knows her, and you know, hey, Charlotte, got another package for you. So,
Of course.
so it's a blessing, bro.
Of course.
Actually, this then I want to bring in my brother Jay Hardcore. You know, so when you say you know had your wife, how did you get past low points, man? Because one thing for sure, your story, man, you had your fair share of things that worked against you, man. How did you get past that?
You know, it's funny, man, because I'm talking to the editor. That's why I could give you this information. Those are questions that he's asking me now for the film, because we're almost done with the film, right? And yeah, those obstacles that kind of came, and you know, you kind of take a shot and kind of, you know, wring your neck out and go back for round two, right? But my mentality, it's always, my mentality has been that it can't kick my ass, and you know, and I'm not scared to fail, and you're not gonna. I always tell these young guys is, and we've all been through it. Every one of you guys that are here is that one line that we were scared to cross. If we never crossed it, we wouldn't be talking here, right? You know, so that just takes courage and, you know, taking the shots. But that's why my wife and my kids are so important. Everything I do, bro, is, you know, I got my first big residual check from Creed 3, and it was real big because it broke all kinds of, you know, it broke the record growth for the biggest sports movie in Hollywood. Shit, I send my kids money. It's not about me, you know. And so I've been blessed, you know, to be going through all these situations and just kind of growing and just continue to grow.
Yeah, I gotta bring my big brother Jay Hardcore in. Hey, Jay, this is Uncle Stitch, man.
So Jay,
How you doing, Stitch? I've
Hi.
been admiring your career for a long time. You can tell I'm a little old in the tooth. And one thing I always wanted to know, man, what was a fight where a guy got cut so bad you just was like, what in the hell am I going to do, man? Who was that guy, man? And what did you do to overcome that situation?
bro, name a fighter. no, no, I tell you, and we talked about it. We talked about it today. So one of the final interviews that we're doing for my film is Raul Marquez from Houston, right? And when that was my coming out, I've been in Vegas 29 years. I moved here from the Bay Area to follow my dreams, and he was my coming out fight. He was fighting Keith Mullins. He was defending his IBF, I think, middleweight title, and Raul ended up with 5 cuts here, and here, something like 70 stitches. And I kept him in the game, and he ended up winning the fight and defending his title. And people say, "Who the hell's this guy?" You know. And that was that was my coming out fight. But even God, I mean, in MMA, Vladimir Klitschko, and he fought Devereux Williamson, ended up with that big old cut there. And, Forrest Griffin in the UFC, and Marvin Leishman, shitload of them, bro. So it's been a bunch.
Wow, did any of them really made you like? It was like, oh my goodness.
Well, yes, there is one, and this was an MMA fight. Jay Haran fought Jonathan Gillette from Canada, and here's at the Hard Rock here in Las Vegas, and Jay Haran took a knee, and that one vein we all have, that when you laugh it pops. Well, you sever that vein. The cut was only about this big, but it bled like a pig. It squirts out, and the medications that we use won't stop it because it's just too much of a blood flow. But it was so much blood that I got nauseated.
Right.
And they had blood from both fighters, from the top of the head to the bottom of their feet. You know that smell of iron from blood. So Jay's real proud of it. The mat is in Randy Couture's gym here in Las Vegas, but the bloodiest fight I worked, and he's so proud of it. So.
Wow. And this, I'm not sure if the question already been asked because I'm just getting in the door, but what really got you into this? I really want to know myself, man. Do you have history of being a doctor, or what got you there?
Bro, I got a high school diploma, man. I just, well, no, what happened is I grew up as a farm worker in the Central Valley of California. That's where the film is called From the Fields, because I was a farm worker, literally born and raised in a migrant camp. And from the fields to the garden, and the garden is, my goal was to make it to Madison Square Garden, right? And so anyway, I always wanted to play professional baseball. I walked down to a college from my little town. I grew up in a town of about 1,500 people, and I would ride to school with friends because I didn't have a car. Bro, I grew up poor. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I would go to school with friends, and after school I'd stay and practice, and I would hitchhike home 9 miles away, and I just. I was naive. I didn't know how to talk to the coach about grants or scholarships. So I joined the Air Force. It was 1972. And I always told myself if I went to the Orient, I'd want to study the martial arts. So in 1974, they stationed me in Thailand. And I didn't even know what Thailand was. And I had friends that were already there. And they invited me to downtown Banchan to see some fights. Well, bro, I'm Mexican. I'm thinking boxing. I didn't know what Muay Thai was. Saw my first Muay Thai fight, and the guy throws a kick and hits a guy here and knocks him out. I said, "Oh shit, I'm in." So at the base they had Taekwondo, and Taekwondo is a Korean sport, but it was taught by the Thais, and they incorporated. They had to keep that Korean label because of the contracts with the government, but they transitioned us into the Muay Thai system and all that. So anyway, coming back to the States, I lived in Oakland, and I got into boxing to improve my hands at King's Gym, where Andre Ward trains and all that. I was their first student, actually. And then I opened up a school of kickboxing, and I was already a trainer. So getting to your question, that long way, I was a trainer before I was a cut man, and I had to learn to be a cut man because I had some great fighters, kickboxers, and we went all over the world. But I remember, never forget, Bone Crusher Smith fought Marvis Frazier in Richmond, California. Never forget. I was learning to be a cut man, and then it was only boxing. I go over there and I asked this one guy that did a good job on the cuts, and I say, "Hey, look, I'm trying to learn to be a cut man." can you tell me what you did? He says, fuck you. I'm taking this to my grave and you got to learn like me. And he walked away. And I felt about this big, bro. But I figured I'm never going to be like this piece of shit. I'm always going to teach. And I've done this interview hundreds of times. He don't even know till this day I talk about it. But he just let me understand that I don't want to be like him. So my job is to teach and take care of these fighters. And, you know, that's the martial arts in me. And I'm kind of changing being a cut man. I mean, you see cut men all the time now. So long answer to your question.
Right. It's so funny that you're on here today, and something happening to me today. The middle school called me and said, hey, we need you to come get your son. He's been here since 10:30, and we can't get his nose to stop bleeding. And he gets that from me. And anytime that we overheat, we bleed, you know. But I learned when I wasn't going to the hospital a lot how to stop nosebleeds. And the nurse says, well, we've been trying to stop his nosebleed for 2 hours and we still can't get it to stop. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, I know how to get his nose to stop bleeding. I'll come down because, you know, I have a lot of history of it from myself. And I just learned how to bring the temperature down, because when we overheat, we bleed, me and my sons, and you know, and my daughter as well. So we'll put the ice behind our head, we'll put the ice on our nose, and we will on our forehead, and we will pinch the nose, and we keep having them blow into the napkin. And as they continue on doing that, eventually the blood gets lighter and lighter and lighter. But the main thing is bringing the temperature down, man. And as soon as I went into the nurse office and did that, bam, 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 he stopped bleeding. I'm like, wow, you're a nurse. Why couldn't you do that? You know, but then she said, well, you know, certain things they don't allow us to do, blase. But, you know,
I understand in the boxing industry, it's funny you say that. I live in Las Vegas. It's very dry. So, you know, the thing with dry nostrils and all that. But another thing that remedy that the old boxers is olive oil, because what happens, your sinuses get dry. Olive oil, it's a moisturizer. So it'll keep your tissue so it doesn't crack as easy and bleed. But you were talking about direct pressure. Yeah, blood coagulates itself with time. And that's why, you know, you get cut, you do exactly that. I don't know why they told you to blow, because when you do that, you get rid of the coagulation that's starting to form. So, you know, I would just keep pressure on it and let nature work for it. You know, blowing out, you know,
I don't know, but it always works. I don't know why.
Try without it and see which one works.
Okay, I would definitely do that.
Yeah, just you know. But yeah, cold direct pressure.
It seems like that.
But also, hold on now. And if he's taking any kind of anti-inflammatories, ibuprofen, anything like that, because that thins out the blood. You know, so yeah, nosebleeds are a bitch, man. I always tell people if they're working on the cut or nose, it's better them than me. You know.
When it gets hot, and I asked my son, was it hot in your school today? He said they had the heat on, Dad, and I don't know why they had the heat on. It's 80 degrees outside, you know. So anytime it gets hot, we bleed, man, like a car overheating, you know. Yeah. But that olive oil seems like it's used a lot of different ways in the gym. I'm starting to see.
Yeah, you know what? See, and that's a good point, because the old adage and the old theory in boxing was, you know, because I remember Julio Cesar Chavez said he was fighting Oscar De La Hoya at Caesars, and we have an outdoor weigh-in, and he's sitting back like this, letting the sun get into his skin. That mentality was that it toughens up your skin, right? But as you look at the facts in boxing or in combat sports, the more pliable your skin is, the less likely that you're going to get cut, right? So it's like a dry branch. If you have a dry branch, you can break it right off the bat, right? But if it's nice and moist, you can bend it. You might even, you know, depending on how thick it is, you know. So that's the theory of that. So moisturize, you know, I mean, just stay out of the sun. But the olive oil, around the nose, and it's a lot of guys here in Vegas have used it, and even when I was in California.
I even heard for cutting weight too.
What's that?
I heard something about using olive oil to cut weight too.
That's a new one on me.
Yeah.
I've been around a while, bro. And see, that's the thing. That's a good point, because the thing in boxing, in our sport, combat sport, every other major sport, A-level sport, everybody has to be certified to do what they do. Coach, trainer, nutrition. So none of us do. Top trainers in the world, cutmen, none of us have to be certified to be called pros. None of us. And
Just gotta pay for that license, right?
That's it. That's why I always try to teach, man. And there's so many mistakes that guys do that's not fair to the fighter. You know?
Wow. Well, that's all I had for you. I'm not gonna hog. I know other people have stuff to ask you, my brother. But listen here, I respect and I appreciate your work so much, my brother.
Appreciate it, my man. Yeah, I'm blessed.
I gotta ask you. I know.
Yeah, you coming in broken, bro.
End of the sport.
BVO, you going in and
You
out.
hear me?
Yeah, you're going in and out.
Y'all hear me now?
No. A little bit. Go ahead.
You on
I don't
mute.
know what happened.
Oh, there you go.
You hear me?
You're a little crackly. But
I don't know what happened.
Keep going and see. Keep going.
Okay. So,
Uh-oh.
so speaking of that, I know you see all the big fights in.
I
Going
can't get
out,
you.
bro.
Yeah, you went out, yo.
He went out. Jay, you got something hardcore?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Keep cooking.
It was another thing I always wondered. What do you all actually use that y'all put inside those cuts, man?
All right. I'm glad you
That's a
asked
good
that,
question.
'cause I told you my job is to educate, and now you look at boxing entirely different, right? So as work as a cut man. So, but the medication that we use on a cut through a swab is called epinephrine, adrenaline chloride 1000, and the only way you can get it is through a prescription, right? And but it's a vessel constrictor, so it closes up the blood vessels. And I always tell these young fighters, if you're looking for a cut man, ask him this question: what does the adrenaline chloride 1000 do? Well, then you'll hear, oh, it stops the bleeding. Ask guys, oh, it stops the bleeding. Yeah, but how? Oh, well, it coagulates it. If he says it coagulates it, get another cut man, because he's wrong. It's a vessel constrictor. There's two different ways. So when you see me work on a cut, Jay, I'll get it and I'll squeeze it.
Yeah.
And what you're doing in theory, the little blood and the little vessels, you squeeze it and you clean out the little blood. So when you put the swab there, it absorbs into the swab and it closes the veins.
Nice.
So it's a vessel constrictor.
Okay.
That's what's up.
Have you seen what the Russells use for the when they put over their face? They got an inswell that the Russells do. Gary Russell and his family, they got a whole inswell that they put over their face, man.
Yeah.
Have you seen
Yeah,
what they got?
I worked not this last fights. A couple months ago, I worked there down the same card, and yeah, I've seen it. Of course, I've seen it and held it. You know, it's the theory is cool. If you're gonna cool the face, fine with me. You know, it's good. It's kind of gladiator shit. But for swelling, Coco, you need just direct pressure on the swelling. You know, so the match would be good. But if you're gonna pinpoint one part, you got to do that with a KO swell. You know, but it's funny because they're all Garys, right? Well,
Yeah.
they walk into the dressing room and the Gary that was fighting, I didn't know which one was fighting. I said, I remember your father, because the father passed. I remember your father asked me to wrap one of you guys' hands, and I can't remember who it was. He says it was me. You know, I said, oh man, so we kind of hugged. You know, it's that real special moment. He said, man, it was a great rap. You know, so that's the kind of stories I got, man. I got shitload of them. I do, man. It's crazy.
Go ahead,
Yes.
Hardcore.
Oh, okay. Now I want to see if anybody else had any other questions.
You got the fire. You keep
Let's
firing,
take it.
baby.
I want to take it back. Remember when Mike Tyson fight, man, and the infamous balloon? Remember that? everybody, the
Oh.
infamous that I don't know if it was a glove or I don't know condom. I don't know what they put on his face, man.
Yeah.
Horrible.
What was that?
I
remember that,
It
Jay.
was a glove, and what happened, and that's my point. None of us have to be certified. So when you always prepare for worst case scenario, that was the worst case scenario done with people that didn't do nothing. It was a glove that they put ice in it, and
That
you
was
put
crazy.
It was embarrassing for Mike Tyson to have that team do what they did.
I was young when
No.
that happened. I never understood what that was. I was like, what they doing to Mike? Because, Mike had a nice little on his eye when they was doing that.
No,
That
that's
was
my
weird.
point. That's my
Yeah.
point.
That was weird.
Yeah. So, yeah. So that's a good point. I thought about it today, man. It's
Very strange.
yeah.
Yeah, we done seen a lot of different things in the corner, man. But I've always looked at you as the guy, man.
Mm-hmm.
So from what I understand, they got a movie that they're going to be doing on you, or
Yeah, there's I've always had people offer me different programs and this and that. So before COVID, I got a call from guys that wanted to do a story of my life, and I wrote a book when I was with the UFC, called From the Fields to the Garden, because I grew up as that farm worker. Picking peaches, tomato, cotton, figs. If I tell people you ate it, that's what I did all my life. My address on my birth certificate is CPC number 12, California Packing Company number 12. So, bro, in the old days, your ancestors were called slaves. We're same thing, but we got paid. We literally we lived in camps and worked for the people that had and so it was the same theory.
Hey, Uncle Stitch, you're the only man on the planet that'll find a good thing in that.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, it changed my life. That's why I never forget where I come from, bro. Because you can't get no lower than where I came from, man. But anyway, getting back to that. So, I said, yeah, let's do it, man. I'm the kind of guy you want to do it. Let's do it. And like the book, when Zach Robinson had like 3 other people that I wanted to do this and do that. This during the heydays of the UFC. And nothing ever happened. When this one guy, Zach Robinson, contacted me, and I said, yeah, let's do it. Well, he lived in Germany. But just by the grace of God, I was going to be in Germany working with Vitaly Klitschko 2 weeks later. So we met. He was a teacher for the military from Oklahoma, and he played baseball, and I played baseball. And we shook hands and wrote a book and became tough. So anyway, these people contacted me about writing or doing a documentary based on my life and of the book, and I said, yeah, I'd love to. So a week after I signed, I tell you, by the grace of God, I get a call that Triple G is fighting, of all places, the Garden, Madison Square Garden, and that's the finale for the documentary. I reached my goal, right? And so they gave us all access, so we filmed the Garden and everything around there, and then COVID kicked in, and we were down for that long amount of time, and then we started getting Tyson Fury and Sean Porter and a bunch of guys that they made a sizzle, but Michael B. Jordan and the Creed production people are gonna help us take it to Amazon, which could be 90 minutes. Yeah, it's top of the line.
That's dope. That's how soon you think it'll be out, or is it out?
It'll be in the new year. We'll be done by filming. We got Raul Marquez that I told you about, all the cuts. They're gonna go to Houston and interview him, and then Vladimir Klitschko, that's in Ukraine. Fighting the Russians, he's going to do they do a transmission where it'll still look as good as it does. New technology, so they're going to interview Vladimir, and then my final interviews. By October 12th, we'll be done, and they're doing editing already. So by the end of November, and then in the new year, I'm sure you'll see it out there.
Nice.
But it's extreme. I just touched base with Top Rank about using some of their footage, and so yeah, it's coming along, man.
Well, it looks like, man, that you are thoroughly healthy, man, and your mind is snapping just like that. So I don't think I see any retirement in your future, huh?
No, you know what? Nah, bro, I'm just warming up.
I see, yeah, man. I see.
I'm 72 years old. I feel great, man. And
you're 72?
Yeah. I just but I had a meeting
you look
yesterday.
Great, brother. You look great.
Thanks,
Great, salute.
Yeah, I had a meeting yesterday. I'm working with this company that we're taking over it's called the Cut Cream. It's a healing agent for the process of cuts. I had CBD products and vegetables and so on. So anyway, that's going to be my product, Stitch Premium, the cut cream. Then I got a cannabis line coming out, Thai Stitch, you know, and
what's it called?
Thai Stitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I told them, you know, when they came up to me, they're the ones who make like for Snoop Dogg and Elton John and all that. And I told you things just happen. So when they asked me, I said, yeah, but you know what? I said, the best weed I ever smoked was a year I was stationed in Thailand. If you can make something as good as that, we'll call it Thai Stitch.
Yeah.
They love it. So I got that. And, you know, I'm working with a company now that has Old Bison. It's a bourbon, vodka. They have two different.
Yeah, bourbon. I'm with that one.
Yeah.
So all these people and, you know, just things, you know, working with Top Rank and as their house cut man and doing a lot of freelance. So I've been blessed doing a lot of work, you know.
Let me ask you a question, like the stuff that you are manufacturing and everything, will it help with scar tissue, man? Because
you know what, it's funny you bring that up. When these people contacted me, Jay and Keith, they're manufacturers. They created the cut cream, right? And they contacted me, and I used to work for RJ Reynolds Tobacco Company, so I understand the sales part. I said, well, what proof source do you have? And he said, well, that's what we called you. So I took them. I was doing the bare knuckle fights just before COVID kicked in. I was doing the bare knuckle fights in Florida, and these guys, they all get cut, you know. So in the dressing room, they would sew them up, and Jay would take a picture of them and give them the cream, and a week later they would send back another picture, and the results have been great. But getting back to the scar tissue, the scarring, I walked into one of the gyms and I have a video of the kid, and because I gave him all samples to try them out, right? And he comes up and says, man, he's in his testimony, I got cut a month ago here and this and that. And I got actually 2 cuts, but you look and it minimizes scarring. And we never thought about that. That wasn't something that was in the equation of healing rapidly, right? Or faster than normal. And so, yeah, that's, you know, no guarantee that, but it's, one guy said it works, you know, and, but swelling guys, you know, they get bruised up in the gym and you know, they get bruised up. That's Brian Mendoza was a former world champ. He says, you know, put it on the next day, you're good. You know, so it has a lot of, you know, healing agents. And so, yeah, it's Stitch Premium, the cut cream going to be coming out. Both of these in the new year. So
speaking of that, we got to get some for Tio, man, because I don't know what it is. Every time we get in a fight, man, he's like one of the Muppet babies, man. We got to get him some of that, man.
There we go.
But that being said, when you see all these great fighters, man, who you been watching out for? Because I know you're still a fan at heart. What fighter have you been watching out for?
You know, so many, man. I work with so many, and just, you know, it's like say it's not even about the fights. It's not about the styles. It's about the personalities. You know, and you know, like Caleb Plant. All right, we finished. You know, it was a tough fight, and you know, we're taking pictures together with their, you know, their photographers and all that, and it's my turn to take a picture with him, and he has his belt, and he gives it to me. He goes, here, hold it. I said, no, it's your belt. He said, no, it's our belt. You know, so we're holding it together, and as we're taking the picture, he gives me a kiss up here and says, I love you. Yeah, bro, those are the stories. Those, you know, forget how good you are, and anybody could get knocked out. That's why I don't predict fights, because I don't know, you don't know, and I can give you my opinion, you know, but if you ask me the probabilities of cuts, I can answer that a lot better.
And when you say that, one thing I always hear, whether it's Klitschko, now Caleb Plant, where did you get that big heart from? And where did you get that? You always show so much love to everybody. Where did you get that from?
No, it's from understanding these guys, bro. You know, you know, and I always tell guys, psychology is a big thing, right? You know, I have my own line of tape. Canelo uses it, which is great. You know, I used it with Creed, Michael B. Jordan. I wrapped his hands with it and all that. But this young kid in the dressing room, he's getting his hands wrapped by Stitch athletic tape. And I just on the side game, I said, look, I want to let you know that with my tape, it's a 98% knockout ratio, man. Don't mess it up for me. You know, they got a knockout, bro. You know, so, but little things like that, psychology. But, you know, I'm going to treat you like you're my son moment came with Lyoto Machida in the UFC when he fought. When he beat Rashad Evans for the world title. And Lyoto's dad is very Japanese, very shogun, very proud man. And after the fights, I go to the dressing room to congratulate Lyoto in front of his dad that's very proud. He says, Stitch, he goes, in the ring, you are my father. And his father just kind of, yes, I approve of that. So that, I know I mean that to these guys, and Marco Antonio Barrera, the former world champ, that he has a podcast from Guadalajara, Mexico. He asked me a question that's never been asked, and I mentioned it yesterday. He says, has a fighter ever disrespected you? And I said, man, no, because my job is different than a coach or anybody else. My job is to take care of you. Why would you go and mess with me? Right. So, but I respect them all, bro. It's not a win or lose situation. I'll give you every opportunity to win. I saw after the fights, Frank Espinoza, that manages a lot of the fighters, and he says, it's psychology is a big thing in this game. He goes, when people see you on the other side of the ring, they know they're at a disadvantage, And I said, yeah, I've had guys that say, man, when I saw you on the other side of the ring, I know what we're going to do. But it's all psychology,
Speaking of that, I got my young guy on here as well. My man Ja. I think he's gonna be the next middleweight champion. He want to ask you a question. Go ahead, Ja.
Hey, but how you doing? I'm Stitch with Duran. You know what I mean? But I don't watch you in countless fights, and I don't watch you be a cut man before various fighters. And I got about 2 questions for you. The first one is, what advice do you have for young fighters? And what's one mistake that you see a lot of fighters make that they should avoid?
Yeah, good question, man. And here's what I tell these young guys, and I'm glad you brought that up, But like I was telling earlier, I don't know if you were on the line, that one line that we're scared to cross, we're all scared to cross. Bro, if you don't cross it, you'll never get there, right? But the most important thing is if you're going to fight, because everybody's in that gym, everybody that's in the gym has one thing in their mind, and that's become a world champion. But I always tell guys, if you do it for the money, you're going to do it for the wrong reasons. You got to do it because you got to have a passion for it. And the money will come through your passion. It's a business, so take care of it as a business, right? But do it as a passion and study the game and just kind of always go that one more round. Like Mike Tyson says, take the pain. You got to take the pain, But yeah, passion number one, bro. You got to have that. And also when you get a coach and a trainer and all that, make sure they're qualified. Make sure they have experience and have worked some big fights. So hope I answered both of those questions with one.
Oh, wow, thank you. I appreciate it a lot.
No, good luck to yourself. And now, are you out of Cleveland also?
No, St. Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, okay. I'll be there in a couple of weeks while I'll be at the Garden. So,
right. He's a big middleweight too. He about 6 foot. He's a big middleweight. I'm telling you, he's gonna be nice. He's gonna be nice.
I'm sure we'll cross fast, man. But yeah, have a particular passion. God willing. Love what you do and take the pain, as Mike Tyson says.
Speaking of that, I definitely got to bring my brother Puerto Rican Freak. Go ahead, Free. I know Free got a couple questions. Go ahead, Free.
All right, we're going on with the switch. When do you usually join the camp for a fighter that you know that you're going to be working their corner?
When do I what?
When do you usually join their camp for like their when they're training?
I got the best job in the world, and I just show up for the fights.
Wow.
Wait. Yeah, just like I remember Lou doing, I would just show up for the fight. Yeah, but in camp with like Caleb Plant, because he lives here in Vegas, when he was sparring, I would go by the gym and I would wrap his hands as I would for the fight, but yeah, normally, like I'll be in Phoenix Friday for a show, Friday ESPN show. I'll get there Thursday. My wife and I are going and come back Saturday. And New York, we got a show on Saturday. I'll get there like on Thursday and home. So.
Give me 1 second. I want to play a quick commercial. I got to pay a couple bills. Give me 1 second.
Pay your bills, man.
It's time for another raffle brought to you by the JBT. Our first item is a new 10th generation iPad. with the liquid retina display which shows off beautiful color and has plenty of power for all your handheld computing needs. Great for work, play, or just movies on the go. How much is it to enter, you ask? Just $10. Or you can catch the deal with 3 entries for just $25. It's easy to enter. Just cash app your entries to $JBT Network 1. That's $JBT Network 1. Our second item is a set of Kenichi Bear Bluetooth noise canceling headphones. Great for gaming, movies, or travel. As the second prize in this great raffle. Our third item is a Ninja brand air fryer. Great for all your air frying needs. Cooking healthy with the JBT. So send your entries via Cash App to JBT Network 1. That's JBT Network 1. $10 each or 3 for $25. Put raffle on the comment line and you are entered.
Primo Lopez, the Takeover, 2-time Undisputed World Champion.
I don't know how that got on there, but
How it got on there.
but you know, I gotta ask you this. When we talk about boxing, it's something that you got a real passion for. What did you do on those days that you didn't feel like coming to the gym or coming to a fight? How did you get past that when it got hard?
No, you know, and that's the point. You got to get up and go, bro. You know, and you know, you got to get up and John knows, you know, when, you know, you hate to get there, but when you start breaking sweat, then you're glad that you're there, right? But it's those moments. Yeah, it's that line you got to cross, man. You have to, you know, take the pain and do it because you love it.
For sure. I got to get my guy, and I'm going to go to Jay, my man Prize Fighter. We call him Richie Rich, Uncle Stitch. Show him that watch you have, man. Show him that watch.
I don't have any watches on.
Oh, he took his watch off. You got to see it.
I don't really
watch
have
with
a
the diamonds
question.
on it.
Don't listen to him. I don't really have a question. I just appreciate you and what you've done for the game. And also, I appreciate you coming up here, giving us your precious time to come up here on this channel. So I'm a fan. I've been watching boxing for a long time. I know exactly who you are. I've seen your work. And you are pound for pound number 1. So I don't really have a question. I just wanted to give you your flowers now.
Nah,
You got that big watch, man. We missed that watch. I don't know where that watch is at.
We'll do it on the next one, man. Nah, but listen, I appreciate it. And you know, moments like this are really, that's what I get off on. I mean, I enjoy that. When people like, you know, leaving the fights or anywhere I go, people will stop me and, hey man, do you mind if we take a picture? I said, man, I don't mind at all, because it's when you don't ask that I should be concerned, right? Mm-hmm. But let me give you a story now. Randall Cunningham, you guys remember him?
Yeah.
For the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's here in Las Vegas, and before, I mean, I've been in Vegas 29 years. We had a big kickboxing show here in Las Vegas, and after the fights, me and my 3 brothers, I'm still Jacob, I'm not even Stitch. Me and my 3 brothers are talking to Randall Cunningham, and he's already a star, right? This guy comes up to him, hey man, Randall, come here, man. Let me introduce you to these guys. He says, hold on. He goes, let me finish talking to these guys. Well, I never felt so important in my life. So I know those little moments like that mean so much to people. And Randall's a pastor here. And just like the guy that told me to F off, I've done this story with Randall. I've mentioned Randall's name all the time, but I've never met him. And he has his own church here. And my brother says, well, go and say hi, tell him. I said, nah, I'll run into him one of these days and I'll let him know that this is how you just affected my life, is to be like that, because it meant so much to us, and he don't even know it, but I'm going to let him know that because of what you did there, just reinforce that this is the way I treat everybody. Never turn one person down. But thanks for the compliments, man. Appreciate it.
For sure.
That's what's up. I got 2 more questions for you.
I got time, bro. I ain't got nothing else to do.
All right. Well, I asked you earlier in reference to retirement, and we already know that's not even there. Yeah. But my question is right now, is there someone that you're building into and giving that knowledge so when you do finish, someone can continue on? Is you're grooming somebody right now?
Yeah, well,
And
you
if
know,
so,
I always answer questions if you got a question about cuts, and I get cut men ask me all the time. But yes, Mike Basil,
okay.
Mike Basil and myself worked the top rank fights together, and so I've always, you know, taught him this and taught him that, and do this and do that, and so yeah, he's the guy. So it's funny because we're always doing the top rank shows, and everybody messes with him, calls him Side Stitch.
Nice,
So
nice.
one time he's doing a good job on one of the cuts on ESPN, and Tim Brown, or they're talking about Mike Basil doing a good job, and Tim Bradley says, "Oh yeah, they call him Stitch, Side Stitch. They call him. No, they call him Baby Stitch." He says. I said, "Oh my God!" So Tim Bradley just but he's the next guy in line.
Nice.
Such a good guy.
Okay.
He worked with Berlanga over the fight. Over the
Okay.
weekend.
Okay. So we'll be looking out for him. Last question I have. My friend Boog that in Creed, he did the pad work with Michael B. Jordan. He told me a funny story that happened on while they were there. Do you have a funny story also that happened? Because he told me a story about a pimp falling out because it was so hot, and they end up having to drag him out the arena.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember which Creed it was in.
Yeah.
You know, but do you have any funny Creed stories, or something that you want to say that happened at Creed that we will be interested in?
Well, nothing that's crazy or anything like that, but I and this is in the documentary also, because we interviewed Michael B. Jordan for the documentary, right? And they did. I just saw some of the pieces but this is the third movie I've done with Michael B. Jordan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going back, Andre Ward is the one that, because Ryan Coogler from Oakland used to train with Andre Ward in preparation for all this, and so did Michael B. and all that. So Andre's the one that recommended me to work with him, and so that's how I got hooked up with him. But I told him, I said, Ryan and Michael, I said, look, man, if I see something that's not right, I'm going to let you know because you're representing my sport. And they said, no, please, they do. Anyway, so I stayed with him. So in the second Creed, every day I'm wrapping Michael's hands, just him and I, and his trailer, or we're dressing wherever we're at. But it's just him and I. So we talk, and I talk to him like a fighter, and I think he appreciates that, But I told him how proud I was of him and Ryan Coogler and Tessa, and at that time Steve Cappell was directing Creed too. And he says, Stitch, he goes, we went from being actors to writers, producers, directors. And then he says, I'm directing Creed 3, and you're with me as long as you want. I said, my man. Yeah. No, I tell you, it's a blessing. So anyway, going fast forward, this is our third movie together, and I'm wrapping his hands in front of me. I said, Michael, you know my real name? He goes, Stitch. I said, nah. Do you know my real name? He says, I don't, And so it's Jacob, right? Yeah. Oh, man, you don't look like a Jacob, So that's a clip that's in the documentary.
Okay.
So,
all right, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate
crazy
that.
stories, yeah. But Boog, I tell you, Boog, tremendous job, man.
Yeah. That's my guy,
funny,
man.
Tremendous job. And it was funny because we went to the premiere, and I'll tell you guys, man. Shit. We went to the premiere, and we're my wife and I are leaving, and we're talking to these guys from England that were somehow within Hollywood and all that. And congratulations and all that. And the guy says, oh yeah, this big, large African American did a great job on the pads. And I was like, what is she? I said, look, the large African American did a great job on the pads. Oh my God. I said,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, but it was fun, man. So now, they're working on Creed 4. And so we'll see what happens, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be
I
some
appreciate that, man. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Nah, it's been a blessing, bro. I'm telling you, I got stories.
But I gotta ask you this. Before we let you go, Mal. Who you got going to the Super Bowl, man? Your Raiders going to the Super Bowl?
I don't know. It's funny. It's funny because I just Max Crosby. He was getting into training, into boxing and all that, and he's at the Raiders training center, and they invited me to go over there and wrap his hands. So I got to wrap his hands, but shit, he's the only one that I know for the Raiders now. And my daughter works for the Raiders, right? And but I always tell her, no, you tell people that, you tell Max that she's seen Max Crosby all the time. Let her know that you're my daughter, but she don't want to. I said, man, come on, man, I'll take you to the top of the heartbeat. A lot of times not what you know, but who you know.
Right.
And but yeah, that's just now, because a lot of times I'm traveling home on Sundays.
Right.
So, by the time I get home, I'm not the kind of guy that's going to sit there, watch football, but I'll check them out. But college ball, I watch a lot of college ball because the fights are Saturdays, and I'm at home or I'm in the hotel room waiting for the fights, and so a lot more college ball than I do football.
But I just want to say thank you again, man. I love having you up, man. It's always fun talking to you. And you don't know this, but we're gonna have you on again because you my guy.
Oh, no, I knew that a long time ago, bro. I tell you anytime. That's for me, it's barbershop talk, man. That's all it is, and
and we want to promote that. We want to promote that movie,
So. Yeah. I'll, you know what? One of you guys, send me your phone number. I'll send you the trailer. Pass it on these guys.
Please do that, because we got a lot of different channels that's under the JBT, and we can have everybody promote that commercial for you, man. Getting it out there.
No, don't. This is a sizzle just for you guys to see. Yeah, don't put it out yet.
Okay, cool. Okay,
and just for you guys to see the caliber of work that these guys are doing.
Okay.
And then the storyline, the storyline, which is important, man. And proud of where I came from, and the UFC fired me 10 years ago because you're talking about watches. I spoke out about the Reebok deal and watches, because I had watches were one of my Curtis & Company, one of my sponsors, because my hands are always on TV.
Makes sense.
So nice. So talks about all that and all that. But when you guys send me your number, I'll send it to the other guy.
Yeah, I'll send it to him. I'll send it to him. But again, we got one of my favorite people in the world, man, Uncle Stitch on. We got to hear him talk about boxing, his career. And like I said, he'll be back. So it's your boy BBO Boxing. Get ready for the Rise podcast. We doing some big things at the JBT. We got 6:30. We got my man Crush the Legend. 7 o'clock. We got Jay Hardcore himself. On Wednesdays, we got 11. We got my man Remo, West Talks Fashion, as well as the Banky and Jay show on Wednesday as well at 1. We got the Boxtorian at 2 o'clock, my man Cash. We got The Voice, at 4 o'clock. And, at 8, you got your favorite guy, BVO Boxing, Step by God himself, your favorite. And then we got the Rise podcast. But again, we'll see you real soon, man.
Don't forget about Angry White Men on Friday.
The Angry White Man show as well. Sorry about that. Don't forget about the Angry White Man show. And, of course, Casuals Corners. It's a lot, Uncle Stis. I'm trying to remember them all, man. Forgive me.
I'm surprised you're coming out doing pretty good. You're as good as your commercials, man. So keep it up.
I appreciate you, man. I'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, man. All the best, you guys.
Take care.
Bless.
Appreciate you.
Hey, but I tell you what, man, nice guy, man, great guy, man. But I see, man, y'all didn't bring up none of those points, man, about the Tank and Tio talk. I'm a little disappointed in y'all brothers, man.
Oh man,
I'm a little disappointed in y'all brothers.
You the only one that want to talk about Tio. You and that.
Man, how I turn this damn thing on?
Y'all the only two that talk about that man. You and another guy, and he's Spanish. So y'all the only ones that talk about him.
Well, you know what? Guess what, Praj? You my brother, and I love you, man. Don't take sides against the family. But let me ask this why I got you up here, hardcore. Let me ask this why I got you up here, man. What happens now? We see the takeover calling out Tank. I gotta hear from you. What happens now?
Nothing.
See what I mean? That's what I'm trying to tell you.
On that note, we're gonna get out of here, man. Because Jay Hardcore don't want to tell you, man. He going with TO2, man. He going with TO2. He don't want to tell you that, but he with TO2.
Jay Hardcore in the morning. I've never heard him in the morning talk about TO.
But we out of here, y'all, and we'll be back tomorrow. You had a D-Free and Prize Fighter show. I got a special guest that's gonna be talking with them. So we doing it big over here, BBO Boxing, man. We are less than 500 hours away from being monetized, guys. So keep playing the videos because that's what we do it for. Like, comment, subscribe. It's your boy BBO Boxing. It's the Puerto Rican himself, D-Free. It's my man Prize Fighter, aka Richie Rich. I don't know where the diamonds was today, but he ain't have them on. But shout out to my man Job, the next middleweight champion, and we gone. Peace.
We really boxing. Who wanted the battle?